All right, I'm gonna call the conference line. So I'm gonna hang up. Hello, can you guys hear me? Anybody out there? I think we should be live now. Apologize, this is my first time using this tool. Is anybody else? I see one viewer. Hey, movie, is that you?
But from where?
So I don't know if whoever is viewing on Google Hangouts, please use the conference for the audio.
Right.
So I heard somebody else just join in. Who just joined in?
What?
Hello, Lori.
Yeah.
How did you find where into trick Josh, you brush. That's all the best in it here.
I see we have a couple more people here that are on Google Hangouts. Can you please use the conference line for audio?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, this is on your movie.
All right, I just got on. How you doing, everyone? Feel free to go and comment in the group chat. Okay, I guess I can go and share the document too. All right. What time? Once we get started? Okay. We get started. Hello.
Hello? Yeah, what do you want? Yeah. Yeah, hello? Yeah, you look great. Oh, okay. So, yeah, so what we wanted to go and basically do is use this as an introduction. We want to go and talk about the situation, latest updates, and for people to express themselves. I guess to introduce myself, my name is V.Ogbonna, that's the audio. I'm the secretary of the Ohio branch of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization in America. Oh, okay, so people can't hear. All right, let me go and unmute.
Hello.
Huh?
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Can everyone hear me?
Daddy, I'm the light queen.
No.
Hold on. All right, great.
All right, great.
So like I was saying before, what brought us here is the Chibok kidnappings that happened a few weeks ago in northern Nigeria, and we wanted to go and just as a vehicle to disseminate information as well as for people to express themselves as part of our ongoing effort to support to bring back our girls' campaign. And so what we wanted to do was first start off by hold on, by doing an introduction to recent events. All right, so starting this year, in February of 13th, 2014, Boko Haram went and killed 51 people in the Kanduga area of Borno and abducted 20 girls. On the 25th of that same month, they went and killed and brutalized 59 male students in Yobe State, but there was a female one. And that happened, I believe, at the agricultural college that was there. In April 14th, Boko Haram detonated a bomb in Abuja, in the U.S. capital, which killed 71 people. Around midnight, they go and do the infamous kidnapping of more than 200 girls in Chibok who were there for the yearly exam. The day after, on the 16th, the Nigerian police came out and said that they had freed all the girls but 8. And this statement is retracted the next day. On the 23rd, Bring Back Our Girls begins trending on Twitter in Nigeria as international attention to the incident. On May 5th, Boko Haram released a video claiming responsibility for the kidnapping and making threats to sell the girls into slavery. And the next day, on the 6th, 2 more girls were reported as kidnapped by Boko Haram from the village of Rananabi. All right, if you take a look at the next slide, you will see a map of Nigeria and highlighted are the affected areas. Most of this is taking place in Borno State, which is in the upper right-hand, in the northeast of the country, which borders on Nigeria and Chad and Cameroon. All right, who are Boko Haram? Boko Haram was founded in 2002 by a wealthy, educated Muslim named Muhammad Yusuf, who was eventually publicly killed by the Nigerian police forces in 2009. The actual name isn't Boko Haram, that's a slang term. The name in Arabic, the literal name, is translated in English to mean people committed to the propagation of the Prophet's teachings of jihad. The nickname Boko Haram means Western education is a sin in Hausa. After the death of the leader in 2009, members scattered into other parts of northern Nigeria, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Chad. They reorganized and reemerged in 2010 under the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. It's currently led by Abubakar Shakal, who was a disciple of Muhammad Yusuf, and has been designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S. since 2013. All right. The latest updates are that on the 2nd of May, 22 girls have been reported to have escaped so far. All right. On the 7th, the Nigerian police offers $300,000 to anyone who can provide information that will lead to the recovery of kidnapped girls. And on the 9th, yesterday, experts from the U.S. and UK arrived in Nigeria to help with a search for missing girls. Also on the same day, Amnesty International accuses that Nigerian military had forewarning up to about 4 hours before of this upcoming attack, but they ignored these warnings. The military has since said that that's not true. So that's where we are now. The girls are still not recovered, and the international community is still looking. That's a pretext. Does anyone want to chime in and give what they feel about the situation or any new information that they've heard? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Okay. Yeah, great. Anyone want to chime in? This is supposed to be like a open forum for people to discuss. Okay. It seems that people can hear now. Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Yeah. Can you kick the people off, or I don't know.
So, like, when we're talking about this, like, an open forum, is there anything you want to add? So, what are your thoughts? Like, what's happening? Why do people feel that, or maybe, why are they feeling a little bit more quiet about this whole, a lot of Twitter hashtags and all that that's spreading outside and coming from all these internet markets? I've heard people say why.
How do people feel about the U.S. getting involved in this situation? Yeah. How do people feel about the U.S. And the UK getting involved in this situation?
My question is, why did it take so long? I don't know if anyone has the answer to that, but that's one question I have.
Well, from my understanding, what is it called? The Nigerian government was only committed to making the story disappear. They didn't seem to be very interested in actually recovering the girls, which is why it took the president 2 weeks before he addressed. Hello? Can we please remove those people? Can we remove these people, please? This is very distracting.
Yeah, nothing, right? So, it's not so talking to I'm not even like
What? Okay. It seems to be some technical difficulties. I think we're going to have to do either one or the other. I'm not sure if we can do both.
Yeah, but okay. Those that can get up to Google Hangouts, use that for audio. I'm gonna shut off the conference line.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah.
Get another feedback. Well, it seems like it's going away now. I think we'll probably continue.
Oh, really? Okay. Hold on. We'll only use this for. Try to turn the audio back on.
Yeah, let's be using the conference for audio.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna take comments via chat, not voice. Oh, you know what? I guess if that's the case, then we should probably shut off the conference and then let people ask their questions via chat. I think that might be better.
But I'm only seeing 3 on chat right now.
Can other people get on chat? That might be more convenient. Well, no, there's more than just. There's some other people in the Hangout too. I saw. Oh no. Oh, let's go on. Who is here? Yeah, I think we're gonna. I agree with Richard. I think we should take the comments via chat. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get off the conference call.
All right. Does anybody else on the Hangouts chat?
Yeah. Okay. All right. We had some technical difficulties. All right. I'm gonna get off the conference call. All right. All right. So, anyone else have any updates or any questions about this current situation? There's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation that's been posted so far.
So were you able to get their attention?
I wasn't, but
Yeah, well that's okay. I think we're gonna use the Google Hangout as far as to kind of correspond back and forth.
Yeah, that'd be better.
So are you on that? Are you on that on Google Hangout?
yeah, but there's a big delay between phone and Google.
Say that again.
There's a delay. There's about a 1-minute delay between phone and.
Yeah, I think that's why we have to go and just do one. We can't do both.
So we did go.
You did anybody else? Yeah.
We did those things, you guys. After my responsibilities.
Hello, hey, brother Tunde.
How you doing?
I'm joining you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, no. The thing is, we're having some kind of feedback from phone where that we're hearing another conversation taking place, and then there's no way to kind of shut that off. So we're gonna try to focus using the online video instead.
Yeah. I heard Lori say something. Hello? Richard, are you able to say anything? I see your video, but I can't hear you. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. I'm not hearing anybody. Oh, okay. I guess you should unmute it. Does anyone else wish to? I think we should just stick strictly with the Hangout. That might be better. Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tunde.
Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yes. Yes, I can.
All right, cool.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I'm hearing the Hangouts.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm on a
So
Hangout.
if you can hear him, then you can drop off the conference call.
Yeah, more people should join the chat. Yeah, hello? More people should join the chat. Okay. Guy keeps on coming in and leaving.
I think I have my battery.
I'm not sure why. Really?
No gummies, buddy. Hmm?
You know?
You already had your gummies.
Gummies.
Sorry, buddy.
But I have battery.
Hmm?
Oh, gummies.
No,
No.
Am I muted?
I'm on the phone.
Okay. Richard, can you hear me now?
But I don't want to. I want gummies.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, who else is here?
Oh, I can't. See.
Okay, I can hear you guys now. Everybody, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Richard, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So, like I was saying before, there's been a lot of misinformation, a lot of confusion. Even the numbers of young girls that's been kidnapped in Tunisia. I've seen numbers as high as like 200 and.
Doesn't matter. We'll just use the chat. Still hearing a lot of static on that conference bridge.
Oh, I got off of it. I got off of the conference. Okay. So like I was saying, there's been a lot of issues in terms of the number. We don't know exactly how many how many people have been kidnapped, how many have been recovered. I've seen numbers as high as 276, and I've seen also some ones as low as 70. What makes the whole situation even more cumbersome is that they still haven't actually released the names to the public. YAP has given the names to the government, but they haven't released the names themselves. About a week ago, the Christian Association of Nigeria actually released the names. Their list had about 180 girls on it, but I'm not sure if that was even confirmed. I mean, why would they, of all people, release the names? All right. Anyone else? Can everyone still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Where is everyone else in the chat? I don't see anyone else. I saw some other people coming in and out.
Yeah, I see that too. Mr. Tunde, can you hear? Mr. Tunde, Brother Tunde.
Okay, anyone else? Laurie, are you there?
What was that?
Do we have to invite people directly into it?
Mickey Mouse the car.
Oh,
Sure. Uh-huh.
okay. Victor, is there anything you want to add to it?
No, sorry. What I was saying was, I think the way this Hangout thing works is the broadcast is a live feed,
Yeah,
so they can see me. But if I want to see who is actually watching, then I'll have to send them an invite specifically
oh, okay.
to the actual video broadcast.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that a lot of folks are watching, but we're trying to get them actually involved. Okay, so you're inviting those people.
How many people are seeing this?
What?
There's 12 people watching. And I got some messages from others.
Oh, that's all right. So
Okay, should we just go on?
yeah, let's just go on. I mean, it's really hopefully people respond.
Okay,
But I don't know that I can see them in the chat
not
either.
yet. I don't see any comments on the page yet. It seems that people are trickling in.
Huh?
It seems that people are trickling in, at least on the watching.
Control room. Well, I only have 3.
Okay.
Let's go to...
Am I able to?
Here, I think I know what I did. There you go. So what I did was I shared control with you.
Okay.
So since I think you're a little bit more familiar with, I just figured that piece out. So
All right. So I guess I have to invite some more people.
Hey,
I don't know, Lori, Joanne, did you guys get the video invite? See if you can join in that.
I told you to call my phone.
It's about 30 minutes, right?
That's about right, yeah.
Lord?
I just bought. I just bought a lot. I just bought a lot.
Okay.
What were you eating?
Is anyone? Okay. I don't see anyone else that is able to join.
What ice cream, huh?
How do I invite more people?
So what I did was, like in the top where I think it just says invite people, then it has your microphone, camera.
Okay. Hold on.
Are we going to just work?
Hmm. Yeah. Hold on. Is one.
Time to turn it off, Clinton. You're watching it long enough.
Okay.
No, you're watching TV long enough.
Okay.
Turn it off, please.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Chat. Okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, we're having a couple of technical difficulties. Please excuse us. This is our first time. Okay. We only have 3 people on the video chat. Okay. How does that work? Okay, so like other this chat we have 6.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Is this Lisa?
Hey Lisa.
Lisa. Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm still at work though. So I might have to.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. We're trying to make this thing work. But anyway, we discussed a brief history of Boko Haram as well as some of the latest developments. The most recent news is that international Amnesty International has made a claim that the Nigerian military was informed 4 hours before the kidnappings of some intelligence that it might happen that they allegedly chose to ignore. But the Nigerian military is denying this. Wait a minute. Can you see the video? Hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. Hmm. All right. See, the guy can't even see the video. Victor, can you invite him to? Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I can't invite on my end. Okay, it seems that Victor, you're muted. No one is hearing you. Let me unmute you. Want me to unmute you?
Oh, crap. Sorry, guys.
Okay. All right. I was Okay, now I can hear you, Richard. You can be heard too. All
Yeah.
right. Is there anyone else? Okay. Yeah, it seems that trying to coordinate the hangout with the conference call created some major delay and some confusion. Um, it looks like we're just gonna have to do one or the other.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like.
Yeah.
'Cause I know just not very many people have the Hangouts, so I figured using a conference line as an audio would kind of help, but that didn't work out too good.
I would imagine that you will, if the only way to integrate them, well, not the only way, but the best way to integrate them would be using Google Voice somehow.
Oh, I got you.
Was that NIDOA?
Hold on.
I believe it goes to, like, whatever we go over there is not there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
In fact, it's saying that they're gonna go and basically get rid of voice and put it into Hangouts. Anyway, um, all right, okay. Like I've been saying, this issue is definitely a pretty complex one. It's not one that just sprang out of nowhere, and so we shouldn't be so quick to go and label it a Christian versus Muslim conflict or even a North versus South. Boko Haram has actually killed more Muslims than Christians. Um, it's really unclear exactly what their objective is. When it was started in 2002 by Mohammed Youssef, they were trying to go and have Sharia law as official law in Borno State, I believe. But ever since the death of the leader, they've gone and become very radicalized and have ties with other militant groups. Allegedly, they received $20 million from Algeria, not the state itself, but from um, terrorist organizations within Algeria. And there's speculation that they also have some type of connection with Al Shabaab too, or Al Qaeda in the Arab Maghreb. That's like Yemen and whatnot. Um, another thing to go and keep in mind. Well, going back to the situation on the girls, yeah, it's good that this thing has been getting attention. But people should understand that this is just a symptom of the issue. This is not the end all be all. Once we definitely recover these girls, there's still a lot of work to be done. Okay, it seems like Lisa's here too. So, how you doing, Lisa?
Hey.
So, yeah, like I was saying, once the girls have been recovered, um, we should keep in mind that, you know, it's prone to happen again until we can get rid of the conditions that caused it in the first place. Anyone who's studied Nigerian history will know about the Masantini rebellions of the 1980s that were centered around the same place. So this is not a new phenomenon. This what makes it new is that it's now gone international. It's got international attention, and the people who are perpetuating a lot of this madness, you see that they have bases and whatnot in Cameroon and Chad and Niger, and so it's definitely taking a more international scope. And it's unclear exactly what they want. It's really unclear. Lisa, do you have anything you wanted to add in?
No, not really. I'm at work, so can't really say that much.
Okay. Richard, do you have anything you want to add in?
No, I think you about covered it.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, Victor. Yep. Do you have anything more to add?
Well, I was going, but there's I'm kind of I didn't close out the conference bridge because I'm still hearing people joining in, and kind of trying to see if I can get them to
Yeah, okay.
join the Google Hangouts. So I kind of go back and mute my stuff, and I forget to unmute.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I can continue what I was saying. Um, if people understand, like I said before, that Boko Haram wasn't originally a terrorist group, and it actually became more extremist the more the Nigerian government clamped down on them. Um, I don't think the approach that they've been taking, the Nigerian government has been taking, has been the right one. They've been responding with brutal force, killing and maiming a lot of people, and actually, in some ways, helping to make Boko Haram more popular. You will read reports of them, and by them I mean the Nigerian military, attacking a village, claiming that they've killed like 100 Boko Haram fighters without much proof. For all we know, they could have just killed 100 young men. And the people who, the families of those who killed, I mean, a lot of them are very angry with the Nigerian state. And so they joined Boko Haram to go against them. And their behavior has been very inconsistent. As I stated in the very beginning, sometimes they'll go and kidnap the girl students. Sometimes they'll actually leave them alone. And the times that they've left them alone, they've told them not to go to school anymore, to go home. So it seems as though that they are consistent in taking Western education. But that appears to be the only consistent thing that they're doing. Um, I'm trying to think of what else to cover. Yeah, so like I said before, the more that the government has actually intervened using force, the worse situation has gotten. Um, Also, another thing that recently came out is that Hillary Clinton is coming under fire because of the fact that while she was in the State Department, while she was the head, um, she refused to recognize Boko Haram as a foreign terrorist organization. What that label does is that it basically means that your organization that is conducting terrorism that pretty much affects U.S. interests or conducting terrorism against one of the allies. And as you know, Nigeria is probably the U.S.'s top ally in the region after Liberia, but I consider Liberia to be more of a colony of the U.S. Just a simple ally. Um, Nigeria has played a large role in a lot of peacekeeping expeditions, and then also, like for example, the Liberia situation. When Liberia was under fire, it was Nigerian troops who actually calmed it down, and Obasanjo, the president, um, from 1999 to 2007, they arranged to go and give. Okay, someone else is joined. Oh, it's you again, Victor. Okay. They arranged to go and give to allow Charles Taylor to stay in Nigeria, as long as he didn't interfere anymore in any of the Liberian affairs and politics. He reneged on that agreement, and they turned him over to the International Criminal Court, I believe. Oh no, the Hague. So yeah, Nigeria has played a large role in working with America, and they want to continue that role. From what I understand, there have been like 10. There have been 10 special military officers that were sent to Nigeria from the U.S. I'm not sure how many from the UK though. Victor, do you know how many the UK sent?
No, I don't, but yeah, I can definitely find that out here.
Okay. And so all types of options are being talked about. And the area itself seems to be really woody and.
No, this rally for the Boko Haram.
Speaking of which, there have been people that have had rallies and protests.
For the Boko Haram thing?
What's that?
Are you guys seeing this video just go in and out?
You haven't watched the kidnapping?
Oh. Where'd they get kidnapped?
Nigeria.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Over 300.
Yeah.
Girls? Like young?
Mm-hmm. Like middle school age.
What movie is this? Are you seeing that too?
You know what?
I don't know, the video screen keeps changing.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm still working on this
It
one.
happens when you're not muted and you keep talking, so it switches to the person currently talking. So you have to stay muted.
Oh, interesting. But the international community has taken up this cause. There's been a lot of criticism, though. Some people feel as though it's being co-opted right now. That it's essentially oh, okay. Wow. All right, some people came and left. All right, so yeah, there are some people who feel that this situation is very reminiscent of 2012. If you recall, that was the Invisible Children campaign to go and capture Joseph Kony, the leader of the LRA. I myself, I don't feel that way because of the fact that, number one, the whole Bring Back Your Girls campaign was started by Nigerians and has the general support of the Nigerian populace, whereas the Kony 2012, Ugandans were never behind it. That was strictly the Invisible Children group. Plus, with that situation, Joseph Kony hadn't been seen in Uganda in 5 years, whereas this situation, this is something that recently happened. So I kind of feel as though Both situations are very different. But I think the key thing is this: keeping the eyes on the prize, which is number one, getting back these, um, rescuing these girls, and preventing other people from suffering from the same fate. So I think we have to be solutions orientated in our approach and understand that this is not something that just happened overnight. What made it get international attention is the sheer number of people, of young girls that were kidnapped. But anyone who's followed the news of Nigeria will know that they've been kidnapping girls and killing young boys, and not just young boys, killing everyone for some time now. So that's
So
why.
the thing is now is like what are some of the things that we can even do in addition to not even trying to change. You know, it's extremely vague. It's just more how can we contribute? You know, being here versus there, because I know again Nigerians in Nigeria will say, well, why don't you come to Nigeria and fix this problem that you're so much screaming about? So I'm pretty sure there are other ways that we can actually make contributions to try to help, you know, solve some of this, you know, some of these issues that we're facing.
Well, in the short term, I think number one is keeping this issue alive and not letting it die. Because, as we know, if not for the media, if not for people getting the word out, this would have just been another case of politics, business as usual. Because, as I stated before, in the beginning, Boko Haram has made a trend of kidnapping girls. And like I said, in fact, since the latest one, they kidnapped, I think, between 8 and 11 girls. So if not for the attention that we've been putting on the government, their response, unfortunately, seems to be very lackluster. It took the president, look, Abele Jonathan, 2 weeks before he addressed the nation about it. Victor, you want me to unmute you?
No, cause well, if I start talking, then the camera comes up to me, and I have lots of kids here. Well, two kids that are making a lot of noise over here.
I think I'm wondering if that's only for the live broadcast or just for your screen.
No, it's for any live broadcast. Most video conferencing tools do the same thing. Whenever there's noise on one camera feed, it switches there, so
Okay.
you know who's speaking at the time.
Okay. Well, what's your take? We really want to get everyone to voice out. It's not just about what we're saying. We want it just to be a community forum.
Um, Honestly, it's one of those things. Like Victor said, there's really not a lot we can do from here except keep the information going, making sure the message is strong, and how much influence we can have over there. It'll be hard. The strategy would be to influence those who can influence action down there. So stuff we can do here is one of those things. We require a lot of brainstorming. Probably working with, let me sure working with the Nigerian embassy here would do anything. I'm pretty sure they've already started down that route. Um, Again, a lot of superpowers, for the lack of a better phrase, like America, England, France, all those countries. Hopefully, some other countries in Africa that would pitch in and try to influence the Nigerian government to take a more strategic approach. Like you said, they started with brute force. Obviously, that doesn't work. It's never worked anywhere else. So, trying to influence those influencers to influence folks on the ground there to do something, that would be the best approach. What I guess we can do here is just just community folks here is just to keep making noise so that people don't forget.
Right. Yeah. Very very well said. I especially working with other African nations. Unfortunately, um, with this situation, the three other countries that Boko Haram are alleged to be, um, you know, running into. Well, first of all, border security seems to be non-existent. That's number one. Even the leader, his name is Abubakar Shekau. Even he is actually alleged to not be Nigerian. There's some claims that he's actually from Niger. Oh, we don't really know much about him. We have his picture and stuff, but as far as details of other things, we're not quite sure. Um, but yeah, border security seems to be non-existent. Nigeria is like the poorest country in Africa, or one of the poorest countries in Africa. So there's really not much that can be done on their end, or should be expected. Um, and in fact, in terms of Cameroon, allegedly Boko Haram went and uh, raided a jail and killed some people and broke some prisoners out. That's actually one of the ways that they seem to get a lot of recruits, is breaking people out of prison.
Right. I was actually reading that today. That most of their, I guess, their soldiers, or I don't know how to put it, but yeah, most of those guys are, for you to say, ex-convicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of their MOs in the past, was to get these guys free out of prison. So now you kind of have that loyalty from those individuals, I guess, who are already known as menace to society, part of your team. So I guess now it's not even surprising to kind of see the kind of atrocity and craziness that these guys are doing.
On top of that, I mean, you have the criminal element within Boko Haram hasn't really been emphasized enough, because they have also done a lot of bank robberies, and some of the politicians have claimed that I think the governor of Borno and maybe another one have had to go and pay like fees. They've allegedly been paying fees to them to keep them from attacking them. So it's kind of like what's the term for that? It escapes my mind. Something the mafia used to also do.
Oh, greasing your elbow. I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
I know
So
what you're referring to, because yeah, you're right. They did try amnesty with Boko Haram. The Borno State governor did, and that was shut down. That was declined. So yeah, it's like it's not even money that these guys want. It's if anything, it seems like it's more so control. Like they want control of whatever it is, if it's the entire North or if it's the entire country. But they're getting a little bit more radical as things just go by. So I don't know. As one has said earlier, speculation is if the North now has control over the presidency, that these guys may stop. If that is the fact, then yeah, it's even more sad. But that's how the country operates. If that does happen, I'm just now worried that the South will kind of start mimicking the same, so that they have control.
yeah, this makes me think about what happened in 1993 when Babangida canceled the election because MKO Abiola won, and the aftermath of that was a very crazy situation. Um, all because they wanted to retain power. Um, it remains to be seen. I mean, next year is the election, and I think what people are going to keep in mind the most, though, is Jonathan's response. His response to a lot of these kind of things has been extremely underwhelming um, from the beginning. from the very beginning when he will say things like, terrorism is a burden that we have to bear, and soon it'll just fizzle out. Instead of telling people that we're going to do whatever it takes to bring these people to justice, which is what people expect out of the commander in chief. The the lack of it doesn't seem like he's very interested in this issue, and that seems to be a constant thing of a lot of the Nigerian elites. When Dr. Ngazi, um, Kojo Iweala, when oh, how you doing, guy?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, finally happy you can make it. I
Hey.
saw you kept it seemed like you kept on going in and out.
Oh, was I the one messing everybody up?
No, I just that I don't know. It was
Okay, I was watching,
okay.
but I had to set up my iPad before trying to make it work because I don't have camera and speaker on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, well, happy you can join us.
yeah. Is it a listen or a conversation?
Well, no, this is an open forum conversation for all of us just to share our thoughts and any new information.
Okay,
Because the people are very, very frustrated by what's going on,
right,
extremely frustrated,
right.
and the amount of misinformation. It's amazing, actually. When I say amazing, amazing in a bad way. Um, and if people recall, when Dr. Iweala's, when her mother got kidnapped, within a week, this one woman, they were able to find her, and I guess they found the money to pay the ransom. But it's like 300 girls. I guess because they're not elite, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem to be a high priority to the government. I think that's the sad part. The fact that they just don't seem to care.
I just came back from Nigeria a week ago.
Okay.
It's really crazy, you know what I mean? Because my opinion on this is a little, I guess, a little off from a lot of people, but I feel like the country is so corrupt, man. Every institution is just basically not working to capacity because of that.
Hmm.
So it's really really hard for me to even expect anything out of the government if there's a cancer like that, man. Because the police, the customs, the military, like everybody's just it's just sad, man. Sometimes I
Yeah.
forget about it because I'm here too long, and then when you go there and you hear the stories and you see what's really going on, it's demoralizing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not surprised, basically, with the ineffectiveness of the government regarding this or anything else.
Yeah. Um, I think most people can state the dissatisfaction with the government in terms of fulfilling its duties to the people. Um, on the bright side, though, I am very impressed by the Nigerian people who have been promoting, this story and keeping it alive. Because if not for them, it would have just it wouldn't have gotten this kind of attention.
Right.
It wouldn't have gotten this kind of attention. And that's a good thing. And it's also a good thing to see so many people of different ethnic backgrounds and religious backgrounds coming together, for the protection of children. Because typically, what I've seen, my observation has been, if something isn't affecting somebody's group, and by group I mean ethnic group or religious group, people tend not to care.
Right. And it's the first time I actually seen a lot of interest like that as far as Nigeria is concerned. From a more positive, uh, even though it's a negative thing, but it's a more positive response from everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go to work, and I get a lot of people now asking me about Nigeria, And the sad thing is, there's no good conversation to have because everybody's talking about Boko Haram, the bombings and the kidnappings or whatever. But at least people are like interested in the story on a different capacity now. I don't know. Has anybody heard of any kind of update as to the U.S. government's involvement? And you know, because I heard they were there. Was it last week? So they've been there for about a week now, right?
No, they just got there yesterday.
Oh, is it yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently it's about 10 special forces from the U.S., but we're unsure about how many from the U.K.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll take a little bit of time to get some kind of update there, some kind of feedback.
Right. The key thing here is intelligence, and unfortunately, the Nigerian intelligence apparatus is just not there. When it comes to security, Nigeria's security begins and ends with just checkpoints. That's really it. That seems to be their answer to everything. Kidnapping, checkpoints. Terrorism, checkpoints. There is no, surveillance system. You have in some places where there's a camera on different street corners. No, I don't think any such thing exists in Abuja, or in most other places. So, even when things happen, we don't really have footage of it unless it's from people's camera phones.
Right.
And and still, I still to this day haven't seen any picture of any of the girls who are alleged to have been kidnapped.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with that because the reporters are complaining that that area is a little bit outside of. I mean, first of all, it's in Borno, which is the terrorist infested state that nobody wants to go, and technology, everything there is a little bit behind. So nobody's really there, or there's not enough reporters on ground there to actually get enough information that could be helpful. And I don't know how connected the families are, to actually be able to post on Twitter and maybe post pictures, or you know what I mean?
Right. But I mean, even WAYAC, that they were taking their exam and they have pictures of all the girls. I just feel as though that there just seems to be so many people dropping the ball. Unfortunately, it's just very concerning to me.
Well, I mean, from our end here, it's really sad because from a personal perspective, man, I kind of feel uh, like there's not much we could do.
Right.
Is like, are there ideas out there regarding, like, you know what I mean? Is it just they keep posting and voicing opinions, because most people in our generation right now don't really have the capacity to have any kind of impact unless, maybe we do something on social media, but maybe I'm not thinking of it right, you know what I mean?
Right. No, I mean, we are limited in this regard because it's not like we can volunteer. Like over here, when someone goes missing, we can go and help on trying to find them. But not only are they missing, they're kidnapped by a terrorist group, and we're across the ocean.
Right.
And I mean, unless we can put together an Expendables type of team, we're pretty limited in what
It's
we
like
can
being
do.
hopeless, you know what I mean? You're just seeing the situation and it's not much to do, but at least voicing some kind of opinion and having forums like this to hear what people are actually thinking regarding the situation on ground, but it's really sad, man. I wish there's more going on by, not trying to make this a political like conversation, but I wish there's more going on by the president and by the government to where we can feel proud that they're actually doing what they're supposed to do, and you're actually happy to be able to respond to people when people are asking you questions. You know what I mean? To be able to, oh yeah, you know, this is really ridiculous. However, you know, this is what who is doing. You know, and be able to have some kind of positive twist, you know, to it. But right now, you know, I find myself in situations where people want me to speak on Nigeria and speak on some of the stuff that's going on. And it's really, really hard to find a positive twist to even try to shed some light, you know, because I don't want to be the one constantly shooting myself in the foot by speaking negative about my country, you know what I mean?
Right.
However, if there's not much to be able to talk about, most especially regarding the situation and the security situation, then you're kind of, you know, put in a bind, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can't have somebody go about kidnap kids and you're like, oh, but the electricity got privatized, you know what I mean?
Right.
that can't work, you know what I mean? And like I said, coming back from Nigeria, man, I'm a little bit, I'm still kind of, it's time to get to a situation where, you know, I'm not as disappointed as I currently am, man, because I was kind of shocked by some of the stuff I saw that I wasn't very happy about, man. I was actually at Nyanya the day before the bombing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to head to Jos, you know, and coming down on the road, there's a construction going on. So already you have a slow traffic because of construction, because the one side of the road, like the opposite lane, I think about 2 or 3 lanes that are coming in the opposite direction towards Abuja was closed down due to construction. So you have those lanes all driving on the lanes that are supposed to be heading in the opposite direction. You got all the cars congested on that side of the road. So you're like in a parking lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, already that's a frustrating situation. The minute you start getting out of that congestion, the next thing you see is a whole new congestion by soldiers because they have a checkpoint, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like this doesn't make sense. This is ridiculous. Like you already see a congestion. Instead of you to try to figure out how to get people out of this congested situation, you're making it worse by adding a checkpoint at a construction congested road. You know?
Yeah.
And guess what? These Boko Haram people are targeting to bomb, man.
Right.
Because they bombed the place twice.
Right. Which is why the last bombing was done at a checkpoint.
Right.
It's easy picking.
So you got a checkpoint where everybody's there stuck like in a parking lot, and you got so many cars. Now you got so many people coming to sell you watches and all this stuff right there. You know, it turns into a parking lot and a shopping center at the same time, and it's like a dangerous situation, man. Because and there's not too many entry or exit points out of the city. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like almost everybody coming or leaving Abuja, you don't have too many options. You know?
I've heard that. I've heard that. In fact, that is one of the reasons that mass killings in the north have unfortunately been so easy.
Right. Yeah. So it's sad. Like I'm not a town planner or like an architect or things like that, but even from my limited knowledge, I understand that that just does not make any sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
And with all the money they've been dumping in that city, you would think that they would actually try to take care of situations like that. You know, I'm not saying something that's gonna happen overnight. You know, but I don't know what they're doing regarding stuff like that to actually try to prevent this stuff from happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let somebody else know more about it to shed some light, so we don't keep thinking of something that already has some kind of solution in the works. You know?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this, as I stated earlier today on a on an online radio broadcast that me and Vic were on earlier. And that, Boko Haram itself and these kidnappings are not actually the problem. They're a symptom of a greater problem. A problem of abject poverty, of disenfranchisement, of oppression, of people who are being marginalized, people who are uneducated, folks who are highly tribal. It's just a lot of I mean, an intersection of a lot of things. People who are very gullible and easy to manipulate.
Right.
Because I mean, as I stated earlier, the founder of Boko Haram, he was telling his folks not to get educated, but he was educated. And the reason he was telling people not to get educated is because uneducated people are easier to rule over.
Right.
I mean, the craziest thing you'll see is that in the North, a lot of the elites are actually educated.
This is a funny thing, like saying that, because you people tend to think there's some kind of higher plan, man. You know what I mean? Like when you say, oh, you try to keep people uneducated. To me, it sounds like, okay, there's somebody who's actually planning that out. Like, okay, we're not gonna educate these people for a specific reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
However, I don't know if I want to give them credit for even planning this thing out, man. I don't know if there's somebody who's actually like some group that's saying, okay, let's try to keep these people this way so we can be able to take advantage this way. I wish we had more people who are doing calculations like that, because then you would have somebody else who's calculating the opposite. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
who's making the plans? I think we just have a bunch of idiots, man, who are in position of power, and a bunch of idiots who have resources, and they don't really know or care how to even be able to figure out how to build a nation, man. Like, that's basically it. Like, I don't even want to give them credit for planning the negative, because I don't think they're smart enough, man. That's just how I feel about it. Because they're doing a bad job even at that,
I mean,
But it's correct.
the question now is what next, right? So we've talked about just keeping these types of issues just known all the time, so it doesn't go unforgotten.
Right.
It's not a cold case anymore. You just want to just kind of keep it in the forefront of really all the agendas, as far as when it comes time for elections and things of that nature in Nigeria. These are the kind of thing that we should just always bring forth to light every single time.
Right.
Because, like you say,
what do you think, Vic? Like that's what we're just talking about right now. There's not really much you could do. Like, what are you thinking is next?
No, that's what I'm saying. Though is we can always kind of keep this type of information in the forefront of our conversations. I mean, we are part of organizations that one of the things that I guess they're striving doing is wanting to do things back home and wanting to make a difference back home. And yeah, being away from there, it's kind of hard. So most of the things, resources that we have is usually online stuff, and just more encouraging. We can be consistent. And that's one thing that there is a lack of in at least in the city I'm in. The Nigerian organizations is there is that lack of consistency.
Right.
If you have something consistent, then I think it becomes, it gets only stronger the more it stays that way. For example, the problem that they had about 2-3 years ago with all fuel subsidy, where Nigerians basically shut down the entire country, saying this is BS and yada yada yada. That kind of went away.
Yeah.
After a while, it's like it just died down. So, and I think it's the fact that we stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
you know, even if the issue was addressed at some point in time, or whether the result was positive or it wasn't the way anyone wanted it to be, the fact still remains that it was just like a spur of the moment reaction, and after that, everything kind of went silent.
Yeah, but you know, you have to take the human factor into all this stuff, man.
Of course.
The fact is, you know, we're talking about the kidnapped girls because a lot more people can actually relate to that. You know what I mean?
And
Uh,
and, and I think that's the driver, right? To this
right,
whole town hall and also, you know, the one that's going to be taking place next week, here locally in town. Um, Again, I think that's the driver. But the thing is, after say they find these girls or they find some of these girls, you know, then what's gonna happen next? It's
right.
like, you know, I'm just worried that that whole story or that whole momentum will just kind of die out, and then it's until something again bad happens
Right.
before folks will
Right.
start
Well,
saying,
and it's not just something bad happening. It's
you
I
know,
phrase it this way, but the right bad thing. You know what I mean? Because
there
there's,
you go.
you know what I'm saying? Because people are getting,
Yeah.
people are getting killed every day. You know how many villages are getting attacked. You know, in Plateau State. You know the whole Kaduna issues. You know the
Oh
whole
yeah.
killing things that's going on in the South. You know what I mean? Even the Nyanya bombings that happened twice.
Right.
And a few days ago, they attacked another city and killed about 100 people,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And then there's a bridge that's supposed to be connecting Nigeria and Cameroon or something that got
Yeah.
bombed, and some
Yep.
people
Yep.
killed there too. You know what I mean? But nobody's
Right.
talking about those. We're talking about the kidnapped little girls because that hits home on a whole different trajectory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
not only that, it hit the media. You know, as soon as it got wind of the media, I think it took a different toll,
And
yeah,
celebrities.
a different spin.
Celebrities
yeah,
taking
that's what I'm
selfies.
saying. Like
Yeah.
Michelle Obama said, I see my kids. You know, like when she read about the kidnapped little girl, she think about her kids going to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You read about a bomb in Cameroon, you know, a bridge in Cameroon. You don't think about your kids on a bridge in Cameroon, but you think about your kids going to school and being kidnapped or being shot at, like all the stuff, the shooting that's been going on here in the States. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I do agree with you. I'm saying we gotta be realistic too. I don't see a revolution type movement in Nigeria unless there's something that touches everybody on a specific level, like gas prices going up by 100%. You know what I mean? Not we have to just say, okay, on a smaller scale, you know, how do we still maintain momentum? You know, like NIDO, you know, NIDO as an engine. How often do we have all the NIDOs in the United States or in the Midwest or whatever having some kind of conference to where there's a lot of momentum around some kind of topic that's beyond Columbus, Ohio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like thinking of it in a more realistic, you know, that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
So isn't that the purpose of the NIDO AGM, the annual general meeting?
Yeah.
I guess, you know, do they have topics like that they make a central point of conversation?
Yeah, they usually have a theme. So for at least this year, the one they're doing in Columbus, Ohio, let me tell you what the theme of that is. So that theme basically is Nigerians' transformation agenda and leadership accountability. You know, the role of Nigerians in diaspora. So I'm not for sure what it was last year, but this year is looking at accountability and responsibility of our Nigerian government and basically the Nigerians that are not in Nigeria You know, what are our responsibilities and what can we be accountable for?
Right.
You know, let's be realistic. We have a little bit more access to better resources than they do in Nigeria. So one of the things I haven't brought up to Oyimo when we're setting this Google Hangouts is one of the benefits of us using this is that we can actually even reach as far as Nigeria, as far as people from there joining into this conversation
Right.
and dialoguing alongside with us, which is again we are bridging that gap. But one of the downfalls is I say, well, what if they don't have any NEPA or they don't have any light, which is in this case their reality. So
Right.
that may hinder, participation on that level. And I think,
So I'm gonna speak on that a little bit, just before you lose track of it. I think having Nigerians in groups like the WhatsApp, I can see a lot more participation in that. From
right,
what I saw, as far as bandwidth is concerned, they're starting to get a lot of data plans. So a lot of people prefer using WhatsApp than even using text messaging. And I'm actually in one group right now with a few of my friends that we went to secondary school together. And I mean, I had to put that thing on silent, man, because they're dropping text every minute, every second, and you look down on it and you got like 200 messages in there. You know what I mean? The people are just so it's a very active group. You know what I mean? So if we could start thinking of something simple like that, as opposed to like a video conference, in that takes a lot more bandwidth, a lot more resources needed to actually do this. You know what I mean? Compared to something that I can see them being active on. Um, it may take like having a affiliation with some kind of group down there. I don't know if there's a NIDO in Abuja or something like that, but we can actually say, okay, there's a NIDO Abuja and NIDO Columbus is kind of starting some kind of WhatsApp group that they're kind of all lumped into it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
no, that makes sense because I'm actually also ever since BBM announced its use on Android and iPhone.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm in multiple BBM groups with buddies of mine back home as well. And yeah, I mean those type of things definitely help out as far as communicating with events and things back home.
Yeah.
But it's also nice to have a conversation where you can actually speak and they can hear you
Right.
and see someone and kind of put a name to a face. It's not that it's very important, but it just kind of makes it a little bit nicer and a little bit less for disrespectful
I
situations and
tried
things like
doing
that.
a video. I tried doing a video because I was still working when I was in Nigeria. You know what I mean? And I was still attending meetings. So we tried doing Skype. I had the light, the electricity, the internet, everything I needed, but internet was just a 3G connection.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so I could not do any kind of video conference, man. And that was me. And in Nigeria, I'm not the I'm above middle class, so I had access to everything I needed, but I still couldn't Skype. So I'm just saying, like, think of everybody else that you want to be keeping in contact with. We should have the platform. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not shooting it down. I think we should have the platform available, and we should keep doing it. But it's gonna be a small group of people that can actually take advantage of it. That's all I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. What you're saying is correct. This organizing tool, I think, works really well for people. It works well for people based in America, and for our participants in Nigeria, they can join in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can't really expect them to
Yeah.
do much in terms of streaming video.
That's why
But
like, Vic, man, you gotta go back there and fix this stuff for us, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's your territory, man.
oh boy.
I don't know that that's in my territory all the way, but with the right opportunity, I probably would not hesitate.
Yeah, I was I was speaking about you down there, man. Like, yo, I got my boy Big, man. He's doing big things down here. I'm sure if he could come down and fix all these problems for us, man.
I mean,
But
one particular issue is if they can hire a company to go and set up surveillance in the city. Like that right there. If we could find a Nigerian company that can do that here, that guts.
yeah, it's the infrastructure that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because for you to be able to set up something like that, you gotta have all the cables that are buried in the ground that can actually take all this data and dump them somewhere, right? So a lot of companies who do stuff like that right now, even here in the States, they don't they're not necessarily in a infrastructure business. You know what I mean? They may just say, I'm gonna call Time Warner and say we need a dedicated line, and Time
Yeah,
gonna provide that for them. But you go to Nigeria, we don't have a Time Warner that's actually providing those type of things, and phone companies are not necessarily in that business because right now they're still trying to build their networks and figure out how to keep their networks up and running. You know what I mean? So it affects how all this stuff is done. I'm not trying to say it's not possible, but
yeah,
it just affects a lot of stuff. When I was there, man, I was trying to see Nigeria as from a different perspective, so it doesn't frustrate me. And in all honesty, I mean, you guys can argue this, but I feel like Nigeria is the United States like 100 or 120 years ago.
yep. Hey, that's the exact analogy I tell people.
Yeah,
It's like America after the Civil War.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So if you're looking at America in 1880,
Yep.
it's a lot of stuff that it's just not possible because there's a lot that's just not there. So you got to start thinking of it from a completely different perspective, and how do you still get it done? You know, I'm sure we can find solutions, but from a personal perspective, man, I feel like, and I don't want to offend anybody, but us, the young people in our generation, like, we're not getting the kind of opportunities our parents got because
Yep. You're right.
they happen to be in the right place at the right time, and a lot of them didn't have to work too hard to get to where they did. You know, I'm gonna speak about shit.
Yeah.
Who's his name? Gawan, president at 32. I mean, let somebody in our generation go try that out. You're not gonna be president at 32. It's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
Correct.
and the Babangidas, they got into like generals in the military at such a young age. It's ridiculous because those frameworks weren't there, and they were some of the pioneers that actually created the institutions. You know what I mean?
What you're
So
saying
for
is
us, like, how do we try to, push ourselves to a whole new level? Like, I don't want us to even be thinking like, oh, I just want to graduate and just get a job and just have a good position. Like, we need to start thinking beyond that, man, because if we don't empower ourselves on a different capacity, we ain't gonna be able to do nothing.
well,
You know what I mean?
what you're saying is 110% correct. Which a lot of people there's some people folks in our parents' generation they're aware of this, and then the ones that are slightly older than them they're aware of it, but they don't want to admit it.
Right.
Back then, if you graduated from school, like if you went all the way through, finished secondary school, a lot of opportunities were available for you in the civil service.
Right.
And if you were a university graduate, oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. They treat you like royalty, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's the way it was back then, and now, no, not at all. You can have several doctorates and not be treated like anything.
Yeah. Right.
So no, what you're saying is correct. We have to really be pioneers and innovators. The same way that we had to have the same mentality that people had during the colonial era.
Right.
Because during the colonial era, they didn't expect the British government to do anything for them. So they basically they worked with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to go and build up their necessary infrastructure and the necessary groups to go and be able to say, hey, you know what, we're ready for independence now. They couldn't, I mean, it took them some time to do it, but they did it. And we pretty much have to adopt a lot of the same mentality.
Right. We gotta just think a little differently, man, and push ourselves a little further. Like, I mean, I know it's gonna be a lot of work. It's not gonna be easy, you know, but unless we start thinking that way, I think it's gonna be tough for our generation um to actually make the difference. I mean, we're gonna have to just wait until we're in our 50s, man, and
No,
opportunity come to
we can't.
us.
We can't.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, but if we have to wait until we're in our 50s, the country will turn into Somalia by then. No, that's not something we can. No, that's not. It's not possible. We can't.
Right.
No, 30 more. No, 20 to 30 more years. No, like folks have to
I
get
mean, 'cause
started right now.
it's worse down there, man. Like right now, I mean, I'm looking at Moby. I don't know what you do. You know what I mean? But like Vic and I, we're in pretty high level positions within our corporate, entities here in the United States. And it's like, for people our age to have those opportunities here is just easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go to Nigeria, man. Like it's not the same story, man. People our age in Nigeria are just kids.
Right. Yep.
They're still
You're right.
trying to find jobs. Like a lot of them ain't really doing too much, man. They're still trying to find opportunities, job here and there or so, and you're talking to them and it's just crazy. Like, at your age, man, you should, some of them are doing good. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about the majority. Where are the people in their late 20s and early 30s in Nigeria, like that group? What are they doing? The majority of them are still just kids, maybe in their parents' house, probably,
Right. And they are frustrated. They're angry.
Right.
I see a lot. They try and start their own business, but I mean, it's tough because I mean these are graduates.
Right.
These are graduates, and there's a part of me. It's understandable why some of them resort to cybercrime, to the 419 schemes, because they were told that if they went to school, they can, finish and, get a nice job and live their life. But that didn't happen.
Right.
That just didn't happen. And so for some of them, the jobs aren't there. So if they don't know somebody, then they have to make a decision whether they're going to resort to starting their own import-export business, trying to move somewhere else, or maybe resorting to less than legal methods.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything I'm gonna say, man, as I don't know if there's more people on the line or anything like that. Too many people contributing, but we have to, man. Our generation have to empower ourselves. And from my perspective, I'm thinking of it from a very, very small scale.
Yeah.
Like, what city are you from? You know what I mean? Empower yourself, man, and see what you can do in your city. I mean, don't try to fix Nigeria because you can't. You know what I mean? Don't go there like I want to change and fix corruption. You're gonna die, man. And if you're dead, you can't help anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then you're empowered to a scale where you can actually help people uh, within your city. You know what I mean? And the honest truth about it is, when you get to that level where you're actually making an impact in your city, it's going to be just a matter of time before you start aligning yourself with the right people who are doing stuff in their city, and it's going to be like a little movement to where change is going to go even higher. You know what I mean? Because you can't do it yourself. And if you have the right connections, the right network, as a group, we could actually do something. But we can't do something if we don't have nothing.
Yeah, I think collaboration is key.
Right.
Which is, like I said, the people in the pre-colonial times, they seem to understand that. A lot of them, they seem to work a lot better together than we do now. I see a lot of emphasis on our individual achievements. And while that is fine, I would much rather see group accomplishments highlighted.
Yeah, well, I have an opinion on that too. Like, you know, I guess every Nigerian has an opinion on something. But you know, what we fail to realize is, man, you know, there's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, man.
Right.
If you're gonna have a group and you want the group to succeed, you're gonna have to figure out how you're actually feeding the people who are in that group. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can't just be having groups and be thinking that people are just gonna be volunteering and working for free and that's it. You know what I mean? All these different countries and different groups of people who actually have it going on. I mean, just think of any group. The Red Cross. Who's running the Red Cross? I mean, they're getting paid. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
They got a full staff that's getting paid. Yeah, people are volunteering, but the organization does not run on volunteers. You know what I mean?
Well, volunteers are a crucial part of it, but yeah, they do have.
I mean, the heart of the organization, the CEO and the executive staff is not a group of volunteers. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So,
I completely agree.
So they run it like institutions. They figure out how to raise money. They have revenue, expense reports, all kinds of stuff like that. You know what I mean? And they run it like a company, even though, you know, some people think, oh, it's a nonprofit organization, you know, something. Like they're not thinking of it from that context. So for like NIDOA and all this stuff, I mean, for us to get to where we really need to get to, man, we're going to have to start thinking that way. You know what I mean? NIDOA should have executive staff that's working for NIDOA as a job, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, just like everybody else, and they're making enough salary to feed their family, but all they think about is how to build NIDOA. When you have that, you know, NIDOA is going to start being like some of these other organizations. You know, if we don't do that, NIDOA ain't going to get nowhere, man. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but that's just the reality of it. Because everybody's going to go have their own jobs, and then NIDOA is going to be, you know, a hobby, you know?
No, so, I mean, that's a very good point you bring up there, G, you know, but it's a process, right? So
it doesn't necessarily have to be a process, man. It has to be a goal and a plan, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, okay, let me rephrase that then. It's a goal and a plan. But you know, when you start building your house, you know, you don't automatically be at, you know, start from the roof. You gotta have, like I said, a goal and a plan. So I think, I know I've been with NIDOA now for almost 4 years, and I can tell you that the way things have been from when you and I were there as to what they are today is a little different.
Okay.
So I am seeing the changes as far as that's concerned. And it's just a matter of time. You know, it may not be as quickly as one, you know, would hope, but it's the change that I'm actually experiencing is actually good change.
Okay.
You know, and the way we're doing things. I mean, now NIDOA in Ohio is a little bit more consistent. You know, we try to meet regularly, even if there's only a handful of people that show up for the meeting. So it's getting better. From, I say, operations perspective for NIDOA Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't even want to imply anything regarding like the success and everything that's currently going on. You know what I mean? I was just comparing it to like you know, the Jews, some organizations by all these other different groups that we feel are doing better than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The formula to actually get us to that next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think one of the other things too, with regards to that too, is when we even look at how we are, you know, back at home, and how we identify the different ethnic groups, and we actually separate ourselves based on, you know, what clan you may be from, kind of setup, what religion you are.
Mhm.
You know, is until Nigerians actually realize that, hey, you know, we're all from the same grassroots. At the end of the day, you know, we still look at that place as home, right? So set aside your differences. You know, if you're Muslim, I'm Christian. Well, let's put that to the side and work towards a common goal. You know, so I think that's in my opinion one of the Achilles heels we have as Nigerians that are outside the country, even within the country, for that matter.
Especially within the country.
You know.
I think you know, Nigerians in diaspora are almost like their own ethnic group now, man. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
I mean, because you go to Nigeria, if I go to Nigeria right now and I go to Lagos, they're not going to be looking at me as Nigerian from Plateau State. You know what I mean? They'd be looking at me as this Nigerian from diaspora, and opportunities are going to be a lot different for me than a Nigerian who just drove down from Jos and is trying to find something, you know, in Lagos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of dynamics going on with classism. You know, the people who are sharing the national cake at the top, they're not sitting there concerned about you're from Kano and I'm from what. They're sharing that money and they're going home chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to break down those type of dichotomies too and see how we can, you know, of course, yeah, there's a lot going on in Nigeria with regard to, and it's sad because you have the educated people too who are still, you know, thinking of things from that context. You know what I mean? But I don't know how to go beyond that. I feel like at least we can see ourselves as we have some kind of uniform, like the us in diaspora basically be able to come together as a unit because we have something in common that's beyond just, you know, you're Igbo and you're from Yoruba land or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think we have more in common than just the regular Nigerian from Jos and the other Nigerian from Ibadan, you know?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Um, and I feel, I mean, this particular campaign, this is the most unified I've seen Nigerians. Even with the whole fuel subsidy thing,
Yeah.
people it caught people's attention, but folks who weren't, I mean, there were some people in America who also were protesting, but I mean, not so much. The Occupy Nigeria thing, not so much. This has gotten like people riled up and emotionally attached in a way I have not seen. The only times people feel somewhat attached is during an election and during a funeral of somebody. During a state funeral, that's when folks get really also, they start getting emotional or whatever, and then during an election. But apart from that, no. And this has really touched a lot of people, and I wonder just how long this momentum is going to continue. I mean, especially this is 3 weeks now that these girls have not been recovered.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest fears in reality is that's too long. So the question is, are they even going to be recovered?
Right.
You know, here in the United States, 48 hours the cases become cold
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I
because a
mean,
lot of things could have transpired, you know, in that time frame. So it's a very very sad circumstance and sad reality that we face. You know, and then like I said, we just gotta keep now. We just have to just keep bringing this to the light and just, you know, blasting it out there as much as we can. You know, to try to at least kind of keep things a little bit lightweight. Because yeah, I'm not even gonna be surprised if something again like this magnitude was to happen in
Yeah.
Nigeria again. Because it very well could.
Yeah. The security is non-existent. A lot of my cousin told me that a lot of parents are pulling their kids out of schools.
I mean, that's the reaction. Is you don't want. I'm pretty sure now in the north, parents are telling their girls do not leave the house.
Yeah.
Don't go to school. Don't go to work. I mean, so not only is the safety nets of people uh, in jeopardy. I mean, you're talking about the economy in those areas are basically shut because now nobody wants to go out. No business owner wants to even leave their house for fear of attacks. It's a monopoly. It's a domino effect, and soon it's just gonna get worse if really nothing is being done. So I'm actually glad that again this definitely gained world attention. So at least it's no longer going on deaf ears.
But the attention, if that attention can translate into something, right?
Right.
That would be great, because then you could say, yeah, it got world attention. The U.S. actually went in there. Boko Haram was actually wiped out as a result of it. You know, and the history book is gonna say, man, the day Boko Haram kidnapped those girls was the day they signed their death warrant or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, what if they get back, or what if they're not able to find the girls? Because it's the two things that can happen, right?
Right.
They found the girls and they came back and everybody's happy, or man, they already sold the girls to marriage, blah blah blah, and then what? Is everybody just gonna go back and then they continue bombing, or are we gonna say, okay, now we actually found what's the guy's name? The Boko Haram leader, dude.
Kakao
Yeah,
Bubukar. Yeah.
right. The guy's releasing all these tapes and he sounds so arrogant, like he's untouchable, you know. And you're thinking, wow, for him to have such an ego, and then he talks about it, then he goes out and he does stuff, and then nothing happened. We hear in the news that he's dead, you know. And then, I don't know if it's another corrupt thing that happened because there was like how many $1 million ransom for any information to capture or kill him. And then all of a sudden, after that whole information came out, all of a sudden we heard that he's dead. So somebody probably cashed in. I don't know that. You know what I mean? And then you gave it enough number of months. Then all of a sudden the guy's back out talking about, oh, they thought I was dead, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So what happens after this? That's the biggest thing for me. If it can turn into something positive, that'd be nice.
Yeah. The thing about killing the leader is that when they killed the leader in 2009, that's when they became more radical.
Right.
I don't think that approach is necessarily the best one, unfortunately. I think there has to be a multifaceted approach in tackling the situation, which includes economic opportunities, educational opportunities. I've heard that in Saudi Arabia, when they capture terrorists, what they actually do is they don't go and torture or do anything like that to them. They essentially go and put them in these centers where they go and let them know that they teach them that what they were doing was actually not according to Islam. A lot of them are people who didn't.
Be serious.
Huh?
So if you rob somebody in a store, you get life in jail. But if you bomb and kill thousands of people, we should go and teach you.
I'm just. I'm not saying I agree with everything. I'm just saying that they go and try and because I mean sometimes it's like it's like a revolving door kind of situation. You put some people in prison. I mean, look, if you kill people who are willing to die for their beliefs, you're not actually hurting them.
But that's not the point. Killing somebody, it's not really for them, right? Like
Yeah.
punishment is not really for the person who's being killed. It's also supposed to be a deterrent for somebody else who's planning on doing something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like, you know, one of the problems with Nigeria, man, is that we don't have a fair and just system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you, I don't even think, you know, and you guys can argue this, but I don't even think that our diversity is our problem. I think a lot of the diversity problems is fueled by trust problems, which is also fueled by the whole, you know, corruption and injustice and all that that's going on. I mean, earlier when I was listening, I heard you say something about, oh, you know, the aggressive move by the military in the north.
Yeah.
You don't support it, basically, in a nutshell. And when I think about that, you know, from a personal perspective, I'm a little, what's the best word? Confused in terms of whether or not I support it, because their strategy in the beginning was, we're gonna arrest you and take you to prison, right? And they keep arresting these people and putting them in jail. And what you end up seeing is another politician who's somehow, you know, or somebody in the military or police who's connected gets them out.
Right. You're right. Yep.
And then two, you find that the Boko Haram themselves, they go attack the prisons.
Yep.
They release all their people. I mean, I can't even list how many prisons got attacked and those people. You know what I mean? So the military, I have some friends in the military who told me, hey, you know, the military was literally getting frustrated about that.
Yeah.
I mean, so they got to a point where now when they get the opportunity, they just shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And are there collateral damage? I'm sure they are. Is there a better way of doing it? I'm sure there is. But in a corruption-infested situation like Nigeria, where things are not really just, and you know somebody just killed somebody, you arrest them, you take them to jail, they don't really have a trial, they don't really get sentenced, there's nothing like life in prison. You know, they're back on the street in weeks, not even years or months. How do you trust that when somebody does something wrong, something is really going to happen? How does crime get punished? You know what I mean? Then it puts you in a really weird situation where, okay, I don't trust the security system, but people are getting killed. So what do? You know? Unless we go back to the ground root and just say, hey, we're going to polish up the system and make the system work the way it's supposed to. The judicial system is behaving the way it's supposed to. The security system is working. The executive and the, you know, all the government apparatus are really doing and are just at doing what they're doing for people to feel comfortable. Like, yeah, there's an evil guy sitting next to me, but what is he going to do? I mean, we can just be friends, because I know if he try to do something, he's going to get arrested, right? Because right now, like, if Vic try to play with me, like, I'm going to just dial 911, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he's way bigger than me, and he's threatened me before. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Nigeria, man, somebody threaten you, I mean, there's nothing anybody's going to do. You know what I mean? So the trust issue is deep, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, go ahead. If you see a terrorist organization, just like Obama is dropping bombs on them with the drones, if you find them, just drop bombs on them. You know? Like, part of me is saying that's okay. And then part of me is like, okay, take them to court, give them their fair trial, but I don't believe they're going to get that. So how are people like us who are trying to do the right thing, like, how are you supposed to think about situations like that? You know what I mean?
Right. No, I mean, your perspective is definitely very valid. You raised a lot of good points, but the danger is in when you go now into a village and you kill the young men there, is in making some of the people who survive more radical in the heavy-handed approach. I mean, I know you know about what happened in 2009 when they killed Mohammed Youssef and 400 people in a compound. And that's when, it was almost like they opened a Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel, I mean, it's tough. I mean, and the fact of the matter is that
That's what
anyone
I'm saying. But it's like the country is at war. Like at some point, you have to just say we're at war. You know what I mean? And if I'm fighting a war, I'm gonna kill somebody. You
Right.
know what I mean? Because Nigeria does not have the institutions. Democracy, man. Democracy needs institutions to run. Like you cannot have a democratic country that expects people to just tolerate other people, but you don't have the right institutions to make it work. People confuse freedom for a lot of stuff, man. United States people are free, but there's boundaries.
Yeah.
Nigeria people are free with no boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a very, very dangerous situation, man. You know, how do you create those boundaries, therefore enforcing stuff to where you can say, let's be democratic about it. If I arrest you, you have one phone call, I'm going to read you your rights and all these other stuff. You know, I mean, I know it's a confusing situation, movie, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I'm confused about it, but I just feel like thinking of it from the context of we're still like hundreds of years behind. You know, how was the U.S. in 1880? You know what I mean?
Wild.
Because they were lynching blacks, man, and getting away with it. You know what I mean? They were doing a lot of crazy stuff and getting away with it. They didn't have all the frameworks like they do today.
Yep.
He gave them that clean society. I mean, back then when the Second Amendment was like crazy, I gotta have my gun on me. We go out and do duels outside. You know, you piss me off, I'm gonna shoot you down. I mean, we watched all those movies about the cowboys and stuff, and you see how crazy it was then too, right?
Wild Wild West.
Yeah, the Wild Wild West, man. Like, we have our own version of the Wild Wild West. You know what I mean?
Actually, I bet to differ though. We don't.
To a certain extent,
I mean,
man.
if like I know Imobi had talked about this earlier, as far as you know, with everything going on now, it wouldn't be too bad of an idea if Nigerians were given the right to arm themselves.
Yeah, I'm supporting that. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't say it directly, but thank you.
Yeah. I do think that because as of right now, in order to get a gun, you have to have special permission. Well, certain types of guns, I believe, of the president. I don't think that should be the case. I think people should be able to defend their homes.
Yeah. I think if everybody knows everybody got a gun, you're going to think twice about it, man. You know? Because if somebody robs you right now and you pull a gun, they're still going to come after you. Like, where did you get that gun from? You know, you're like, hold up, but he just tried to kill me. What's going on? Yeah, the cops, they're still going to come looking for you, which is sad, you know? Even when you're in a situation like if you're in Borno State right now and you have a gun and they know about it, the cops are gonna come after you.
Because they'll probably associate you with Boko Haram.
Yeah,
right.
They're gonna say something. I mean, the idea of self-defense is not even gonna cross their mind.
Right.
You know.
Well, as I stated earlier in the in the radio program, you know, one of the primary core issues in terms of the way the state is set up is that you don't have state police. You don't have, you know, a national guard that governors can command. So pretty much everything has to go through Abuja. It's so overly centralized. I mean, it's amazing. And so, you know, if the governor of Borno State could have actually commanded some security officers, you know, without having to go through Abuja, then this might have been prevented.
Right.
And my take personally, if Nigeria doesn't want to decentralize its police and other security personnel, then they need to let the citizens arm themselves. That's how I truly feel.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we have a system where senators and leads are taking up cases like this and in town hall meetings, people are pushing agendas, that the people actually want, because that's something that's a valid conversation to be had.
Right, and to be quite honest, I don't foresee them letting people arm themselves anytime soon. So they should just do the decentralization of the police.
Well, I don't see that happening soon either, man. That's a problem. Because some of these governors are thugs, man. The whole Boko Haram thing started with governors actually creating their own little cells of armed groups. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them are scared if they decentralize the police system and make them governor command, then the governor is going to take advantage of it and do his own personal agenda with the security apparatus in the state. But does that mean we can't find a hybrid system? Even if you know what I mean? I'm sure there's a hybrid system that we can come up with, but they're not even having that conversation. A lot of times when they have this meetings, like the meeting they're having right now, the whole confab or whatever, whole constitution review, they keep people in the dark so much, man, that you don't even know what's really going on in there and who's representing who. You know what I'm saying? But we need solutions to this stuff, man.
Yeah. And when we have our town hall next weekend, hopefully by then we will have some good news to report instead of more bad news.
Right.
Although, to be quite honest, I'm not, judging by the way things are going now, I'm not too optimistic.
Yeah,
to be quite honest.
Yeah, you're right. Me neither. I'm not too optimistic either.
Yeah, I mean, now that I got a few more groups involved in the conversation, to where the UK and the US is sending people down there, I'm hoping that at the least that's the motivation for the military to be able to do something a little different. So I'm trying to give them a benefit of a doubt and say, the next week, the next 2 weeks, what's gonna happen? Is fresh blood in there gonna help bring some change? If yes, that's gonna be great. We can actually celebrate that. But if not, I don't really know, man. There's not too much that's making me feel really passionate about. I mean, I'm passionate about Nigeria, but I'm not passionate about the Nigerian government. So I hope something happened to kind of change my mind on that. You know what I mean?
So I don't know if you guys can see my screen there. I don't know if you guys have, but that was one thing that I actually did. As far as an action that I was able to take was to sign that petition. If you guys check it out on change.org, I think you should read through it. I think it's mostly, the petition really is to really question and actually have the government take ownership and responsibility of what's going on. So the more people sign it, I think the more they might take it seriously. So for most people that actually sign it are Nigerians that are in the diaspora. So I'd also encourage you guys to check it out, read through it, and I signed it. It's that guy, Adebola Mololu. He's in Lagos, and he started this petition.
Okay. You just search for "Bring Back Our Girls" or something?
No, I can. What I'll do is, I don't know if I can share a link on here, but
in the chat.
Oh, right. So for most people that actually sign it,
yeah, that's a good idea. And in the meantime, we'll see what happens. And I'm hoping and praying we don't have any type of Black Hawk Down situation where something was to happen to the foreign troops that are there that can cause
More problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's even thinking that's what these people might be. I mean, the way that they've coordinated things, the first bomb blast, the kidnapping, the second bomb blast, I think there's part of a greater agenda that we still haven't seen yet, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, from what I hear, they're not actually sending troops down there, but they're sending just from an intelligence perspective. So I don't know unless there's more going on that I'm not aware of.
No, they have the U.S. Marines on ground in Abuja.
Oh, the Marines are there?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how many, but I know that the U.S. Marines are on ground in Nigeria, in Abuja.
Okay.
Because remember that they're also doing that economic conference in Abuja.
Yeah.
So I think that was another, and you have a lot of all these world leaders that are there. So that was an added security that they have.
Oh, I think those ones are the ones that usually guard the embassy.
Oh, well, maybe you're right. They sent more down for extra security.
Okay,
Right.
so maybe the intelligence is actually their base of operation is in the embassy, so they have more troops to guard the embassy probably. They kept making it a point to stress that they're not sending the military to actually go find Boko Haram, that they're going to use the Nigerian army, and they're only there for intelligence purposes, from what I've heard and read, you know what I mean? However, it's still going to be a great idea as far as I'm concerned if there's additional military on ground, or drones for all that matter, that would be out there and dropping some stuff as needed, man. As long as they're not killing the girls. Man, but
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, man, it's literally about 3 minutes for the session to end.
okay.
I really appreciate everyone that kind of chimed in.
Yeah.
We had a few people that are able to watch. So what I also did was I have a different laptop. I'm also seeing the YouTube live video. So I'm pretty sure a few people had viewed it that way. I know on the right in the chat I put that change.org petition. So actually this is something I think NIDOA is going to want to keep doing, as far as every once in a while, every once a month or every other month, a town hall meeting, if it's via teleconference or if it's via a face-to-face physical location locally. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think we should continue on this pattern. It's just going to be a matter of time before we really start seeing changes. But the thing is, if you stop, then you really, again, it's just think about it like working out, right? If your goal is to lose 25 pounds in 6 months, you have to set a schedule and follow that schedule. So yeah, I think this is probably a good start for many good things to happen, in my opinion. So I really like to thank everyone that kind of joined in. The next one that we do set up, we'll make sure we kind of clean up all the technical issues. This is our first try, our first go round. So I already jotted down some of my lesson learned as far as from a technical perspective. And again, I thank you all.
Yeah. Oh, so next week, talk about the event next week.
So next week, yes, in Columbus, Ohio, there's going to be a town hall meeting. It's the 17th, May the 17th, and this is going to be held at the Hampton Inn, and it's Easton. So again, it's a town hall meeting that's going to be taking place at the Hampton Inn by Easton here in Columbus, locally hosted by NIDOA, Ohio.
At 4 o'clock, right?
I'm sorry, between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. We start at 4 and end at 6.
All right.
Hopefully we see locals, Columbus citizens there, as well as Nigerian Americans out there. and we will definitely talk more about, you know, what ways and come up with strategies as far as what we can do to help in
Yeah.
any way we can.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, good talking to y'all, man.
All right. And Guy, I'll give you a buzz later, bud.
All right, man.
All right.